Okay, so this is my first texture pass projection on image set E, the final of the building sets, which looks like it ought to be quite daunting, but is actually the most uneventful of all the sets, because it's so far in the distance. Then the scaling of the base texture is such that it doesn't actually double in size until you get to around about frame 120, 125. So that means that there's a whole bunch of frames here at the beginning, right up to my first my second layer, which is at frame 115. So right up until that point there, all this is being taken care of by the first frame's projection. Normally when there's a big gap like that, it's always worth sort of looking through in detail, looking for any evidence of any smearing or doubling artifacts that may be eliminated with an interim projection, say for example at frame 60, halfway through the process. But I can see that this is actually working out really well. So that kind of goes through there. So there's no loss of resolution. So the projection strategy was correct with the checkerboard to identify that. So then we go into the final part, and again between frame 115, because now the camera is beginning to slow down, and frame 200, again there isn't a significant scale up beyond, certainly not beyond the doubling up. So again we only need a projection at frame 200, 115 and 0, and that gives us all the resolution that we need. The building on the right is quite uneventful. Because it sort of stays in pretty much it stays pretty much aligned to the camera all the way through, and then obviously goes off screen sort of before and out of screen without any sort of major perspective change or anything like that. So that's actually quite an uneventful building. That's almost takes care of itself just with the 3 projection layers. In terms of the building on the left, there was a possibility that at this point where the camera starts to swing, rotate, there was a possibility that there would be some smearing of the textures caused by that lateral movement. Certainly there was some minor elongating of the checks on the strategy. So always worth checking that to see if there is any smearing, because obviously that might necessitate a patch from sort of this area. But again, I'm not really seeing it. I'm not really seeing any sort of significant smearing whatsoever in that area. In terms of doubling, I'm seeing no doubling in this of this image whatsoever. Always worth looking up at these areas where we know these elements are protruding, because that's obviously a possibility for smearing or doubling, but in this case it's actually working out quite well. So within those 3 projection layers, I think we've pretty much got that image set taken care of.